people. Welcome to Off the Cuff. This is yet another amazing episode, and we are joined by a very amazing young. When young,
Yeah,
a very amazing young gentleman, and he goes by the name Levi. Hey, let me tell you, Maina, the Kikuyu in me, Karibu iseme LR. But today we are shooting from the Old House Resort in Kino along Wayaki. Me utaacha tu nikuite Levi because yeah, karibu sana.
I usually do that for my fancy friends, but I'm just Levi.
So
That's
you're
what.
saying I'm not fancy. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. You can introduce yourself, tell us what you do. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Levi Matthews. That's my stage name. The names my parents gave me is Levi and Diwa. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer by profession. So I'm a lawyer by profession. I work at the office of the Attorney General currently, and I'm born again, and I love the Lord. And yeah, on the side I do music for
really?
fun.
So you can sing for us.
Okay.
Valentine's is coming. You can sing for us also.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's good to have you here, and I love the topic that you're talking about today. So guys, the topic you are talking about today is why people end up making wrong relationship decisions or ending up in wrong relationship. And we are joined by Levi Matthews, who is going to tell us about all these things. But before he tells us these factors, Levi, where did you grow up in?
I grew up in a county called Trans Nzoia County. I joke about it. I usually call it TZ, you know.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "You're from Tanzania." No, I'm from Trans Nzoia County. I come from Trans Nzoia County. That's where I was born. I was born and raised in Trans Nzoia County. A place called Saboti. It's called Saboti, a very remote village back then.
I've heard of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I have. Who is? I think your member of parliament is very.
Yeah, Caleb Amisi.
Yeah.
And then we have this famous chief Msheveve, you know. He's
yeah,
my local chief.
Anataka
He's my local chief. He has been signing. He has been signing my documents of my life.
Really?
Any transaction that needs government signatures, he has been doing it that for.
Oh, all right. So where did you school?
Yes.
Childhood.
I schooled mostly within the county. I went through Saboti Primary School. It was a great school. The thing about Trans Nzoia is that it's a cosmopolitan place. So in school we used to have people from different tribes and different communities. So I went through Saboti Primary School. My high school, I went through the great St. Anthony's Boys High School, Kitale, inaitwa KD. I know you probably...
I've heard of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. We play a lot of football, a lot of soccer. Let me say that soccer for my American friends. Soccer, we play a lot of soccer. And we are good in sports and academics too. We were good. We are still good.
Oh, amazing. So what is your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory, my grandfather. My grandfather acted as a mentor to me. A lot of things he told me and the things he trained me for, I'm actually seeing them right now as a grown person. One of the things he told me when I was young, he told me this, that the best gift that a father can give to his children is to love their mother. So that is the training he gave me, and
Interesting.
the times we used to have together, kula nyama choma and all that, and training me how to be a man. Yes.
Amazing. Oh, that's so nice. I love that. I love what you've said about the best gift you can give to your children is loving their mother. Oh, that's so good. Hey, I feel so nice because I'm a woman, and if I can get a husband who can love me like that, I mean,
But when they come to think of it,
uh-huh,
the reason why I say that is because the first impression, the first love story, the first model of love that a child sees is the love between the father and the mother. So come to think of that is it actually goes hand in hand with our topic today. I feel like yes.
yeah, why we make wrong decisions. So, into our topic, why do people make these wrong decisions? Because these decisions are everywhere. Marriages are breaking every time. Relationships are breaking every time, and I believe it's because of the wrong choices they made when they were getting into the relationship.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So these are factors. They are factors that makes people make wrong decisions in relationship. My role model Jay Shetty calls them samskaras. It is an Indian word. He calls them samskaras, and he calls them samskaras together with what we call karma. Like the impression, samskara is an impression, and then karma is what comes out of the impression. So one of them, the first one, and I've actually talked about it from the quote from my grandfather, it's parental influence. What parents, parents are the model of the first relationship you've ever seen in the world. So parents will either give you a gift or a gap, depending on you know, parents are not perfect, and human beings are not perfect. Even my parents are not perfect. I have gaps, I have gifts from them. And these gifts and gaps, it's what develops what we call attachment styles. So as a child, your caregivers influence you in a way that you develop what we call attachment styles. And attachment styles is how you relate with other people in relationships, friendships, in romantic relationships, and all that. So
Sort of love
yeah,
languages.
love languages. Yes, yes, it is some sort of love languages, but they are a pretty different kidogo with how we relate. Like I'll give you an example of there are 3 attachment styles that I know, at least 3 that I know. One of them is anxious attachment style. These are kids who are brought up by parents who are not available and they were not ready to validate them. So you find that kids do something good and the parent is there and they cannot validate them. So they have this void. They need validation. So to them, seeking relationship is for validation. They are actually empty inside. Their souls are empty. They respect other people more than they respect themselves. That's what I call a needy person. So an anxious attachment style, kids with such a style are very, very, very needy. And then we have a second one called the avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment are kids who did not have their parents around. So they learn to survive on their own. They learn to be on their own. They feel like mostly their parents were traveling and they were moving out a lot, or they were doing business. So they only see their parents once in a while. They bring them gifts and all that. So you find that such a child, when they grow up, they don't want to have close relationships. They don't want to have close relationships because they feel like if I have a close relationship, this person is going to leave me because they are used to being on their own. Yeah. So they develop. These are the kind of people you meet. You meet them at the beginning of the relationship. They are all good and they want to see you. And then the moment you show commitment and you want to commit the relationship to they leave. They disappear.
Oh my God.
Yes. And then the last one is secure attachment style. Secure attachment style, probably someone who had good parents, parents who they provided validation. They might not be perfect, of course. They have gaps here and there, but parents were available to help them grow. Yes.
Let me take you back a little bit to the needy person.
The needy
the
person.
needy attachment. The needy person. You said it's the what did you call it? The first one.
The anxious attachment
Yes,
style.
the anxious attachment style. So, what does this person do in a relationship? For example, I am a needy person, quote unquote. So, what do I do when I come to to a
Oh.
relationship?
They are very insecure. They will not want you to hang around people of opposite sex, even if it's your work. Like, say for example, you're a doctor and you interact with patients. They are very, 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 very insecure about that, and then they do a lot of love bombing, and then they have very low self-esteem. They don't believe in themselves. They depend on you. These are the kind of people who will tell you that if you leave me, I'll kill myself or I will die. It is because of the emptiness. They don't feel love for themselves. There's a void of love for themselves. They don't see the value they have. They think that the fact that they are in a relationship with someone else, it gives them value. It gives them some sort of validation that they lacked from their parents. Yes.
And does it ever end, or it's something that is there?
The first step is always to know that you are in that mess and it's not your fault.
Yeah.
We are living in a fallen world and our parents are very, very imperfect. It does not come with a manual, you know.
Yeah,
We'll be
You
parents
live
soon and it does not come with a manual, so we don't really know what to expect as parents. So the first step is to know. To know, and if you can find people, if you can do counseling, you can do that. You can also do solitude, and we'll talk about that later on. You can stay on your own, and then now you learn about yourself, learn your values, learn what you can offer in the society. Everybody can offer something in the society.
Yes. Amazing. All right. So next to our next factor.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Next one is what we call. Let me call this the context effect.
Context.
The context effect. Research shows that where you meet a person, where you meet that person, you're likely to think that they are your life partner. For example, if you meet someone in a wedding, if you meet maybe, like for example for me, if I meet a girl in a wedding, I'm likely to think that that person is a life partner. Not because of how she is, but because of the context of where I met her. So the context really influences how you make decisions. If you meet someone in church, you're likely to think that that person is really good and they don't have this other side of them and they don't have this bad character. So the context effect. So kuna hiyo changamoto ya context. Yes.
So if you meet someone in a club,
Yes, you're more likely to think that he's a bad person. Maybe I don't like using this word. Yes, I'll not use it, but you will think it's those.
all right. So the context factor. But when you talk about context, yes, context where you meet the person, for example, in a church. So do you go ahead and katia this person because you've met her in a church, or do you take your time to know this person, you know, to get to know where she comes from, what she stands for? Do your values align?
That's what we are supposed to do. But there's this assumption that comes with us. Now that I met you in church, probably you are this, and this, and this, and this. But it's always good when you meet someone, first of all, ascertain. Values are very important. Values are very important. And the reason why values are very important, that's why it's so hard for you to marry someone from a different religion, because religion influences values. Religion influences values so much. That's why you need to align with people who have the same values. And okay, it's not really they must be the same values. You need to find someone who respects your values.
Yeah.
And for you to know your values, we go back to solitude, because you have to learn on your own, know that this is my boundary, this is where I can go, this is what I can allow, and this is what I cannot allow.
Yeah.
So,
So okay, sorry.
yes.
Please go
So
on.
values, yes.
Yeah,
You can go on.
Yeah, so I was saying, so self-awareness is key
Yeah,
in
self-awareness.
the journey of relationship.
Yeah, it's very key.
Yeah.
People think it's not important, but that is the most important aspect
Yeah.
of a relationship. Because there's always a you before the relationship, and there is a you during the relationship, and then there is a you after the relationship. So you're supposed to be you constantly.
Yeah.
So even when you are in a relationship, you're supposed to have your day with your partner, then a day with your friend, and then a day with yourself, and then it does not change. So you need to understand yourself first of all. So the context effect is the second one.
All right. So I just want to dwell on this a little bit about knowing yourself and self-awareness. So you if you don't know yourself, for example, you don't understand your non-negotiables, I think that is the time now you'll start thinking, huyu ni wa kanisa. Let me just, let me just flow with this person. Yeah.
And you can take anyone.
Uh-huh.
You can take anyone as long as kuna ile joke watu semanga online ati bora inapumua. Anyway, you can take anyone. Okay.
Yeah, but I think I think it's a session I really want to have about relationship in church. Many people are saying ukipatana na mtu wa kanisa, chances are high. Again, I really agree with you when you say about context, because we go into a relationship thinking, oh, this person is from church. And I've been asking myself, why do people say that church people are bad? I'm a church person and I think I'm good. I'm not that bad. So I think when you enter into a relationship, as you said, the context, people expect me to be that church person because I am a church person when it comes to a relationship. And then when things go south, they feel like, ni watu wa kanisa.
Watu wa kanisa ni wabaya. You've heard about that before,
A
sindio?
lot of times.
And then people are like, no, don't marry in church. You afadhali hata wabaya. They are good. You've heard that before.
And they feel like church people are not real, but I think it's about the perception that we have when we are getting into that relationship.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then there's the third one, related. It's almost close to the context effect.
Yeah.
We call it the halo effect. The halo effect. Halo effect is the correct pronunciation. This is it is a psychological term. It is a cognitive bias. Like a cognitive bias in a way that if someone, let me use an example. If someone tells you that, like, for example, let me use my example, or I use your example. You're a journalist, right? So if you tell someone that you are a journalist, people, someone will come up with these added qualities to a journalist. They make assumption that you are this good person. You see, it's almost related to the context one. So you think that because this person is probably a journalist, then he is organized, he is very humble, he is not shy. You make all these assumptions. You add all these other qualities that were not there. You make an assumption. You think that because someone is a lawyer, for example, you think that they are rich and all that. You add all these other qualities that they were not there. It is called the halo effect. It is a cognitive bias.
Oh, yeah. I think, right, I've never heard of that term, but now that you've explained it, I understand where you're coming from. Because I think for me, people, as a journalist, people expect that I'll be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Of course, I know how to communicate, but communication should be two-way. I should not be the one doing all the time doing the communication. There's also a specific way probably I have of communicating. When you call me, I'll say, hi, how are you? How was your day? You tell me, then we start talking. You see, you, for example, there's a way you used to communicating. Hey, hello, this is what I was saying, and you go on. So I think also, I think that is also something that people have. It's called it's a prejudice.
Oh, it is prejudice. Yes, that is the simple word for that. Prejudice. Yes.
Yeah, because you expect this person to have all these qualities. And I think that is why it's very important to understand the person, to sit down with the person and understand them without this, like leave the journalist, leave the lawyer candle, and then now come as Sharon, come as Levi,
Just leave those things,
Yeah,
Kando. They're what we call opulence, ISO. The things that we can see, fame, the likes of knowledge, material, wealth, all those things, leave them aside. They are important, I know. They make our life simple and they make our life comfortable, but it's not the only thing. There is so much in a relationship. Liking them, liking your partner because of those things, it's a good place to start, but it's not a good place to end.
Yeah. Also, the foundation. Yeah, foundation is very important. What is your foundation
Yeah,
like?
yeah. We go back to our parents, and
Yeah.
that is our foundation. Yes,
So, what does your foundation look like?
yes. The fourth one is a simple one that we all know: movies and music. Movies and music. I don't fall in love the way people do in movies and music.
Oh,
Real. They movies and music, they show us these good videos where relationships are perfect, and then there's this character, like in a movie, there's this character who is there waiting patiently for a girl. The girl abuses this guy, and the guy is just there patiently waiting. And then finally, the girl now realizes this is the one for me, and then they have a good relationship, and and then the relationship is perfect, and then atuonyeshwangi the last part, happily ever after. Yeah, it's usually happily ever after. But have you ever asked yourself, when the movie comes to an end, have you ever been shown that the other part of the relationship, how the relationships are not as beautiful, as perfect as the movies show them. Movies and also social media, celebrity couples, you see them and they are doing their, and you look at them and you are like, oh, yes.
And it's actually cloud chasing, and people are like, today I think the society we live in right now, they think that is the way love is supposed to be, and we are not being shown the back behind the scenes. What are the struggles? What I wish there is someone who can come and tell us, hey, we argue, we do this, we do that, but they don't do that. JD, when you are okay, that's interesting.
Yes. Relationships are not as perfect as we see them in movies. They are very, very different. People struggle, they fight. I've been told a number of times that fighting is always there. I'm not married, so I'm looking for. We fight in our dating and courtship, but now marriage is a real thing. Marriage will expose so much. It will expose even. Sometimes you think that you are the most humble person, and you think you have a lot of humility. I've been told that marriage will expose that. It will expose my humility, the humility, I think.
Is whatever character.
Whatever I'm hiding, so you think that you're humble, but you're hiding something, so marriage will magnify that.
Yeah, amazing. All right. Yeah, I've had that statement for a couple of times, that if you're cruel, if you're mean, then it will be magnified in marriage. If you're humble, it will be magnified in marriage. If you're a person who loves fight, it will be magnified. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the fifth point, we talk about first love.
First love. Okay.
First love. The first relationship
Tell
you
us
had.
about this.
Especially when you're an adolescent person. Kuna kwanga, there's this nini, when you're an adolescent, you are attracted to members of the opposite sex when you are that. It's called puberty. So during that time, you are likely to make a decision of having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And that time, your decision is purely on emotions. Your decision is purely on emotions. Because according to psychology, our mind, our prefrontal cortex, prefrontal lobe, doesn't develop until you are 25 and above. And what psychology says, it says that when you are below 25, you tend to think with your emotions so much. You tend to make decisions based on your emotions. And So when you are choosing this first love, the first girlfriend, and many of us are victims. I wanted to try things, and I also had a girlfriend during that period, that high school period, and yeah, I have a very funny story about that. You know, I had like a girlfriend. I'll not say the name because it's someone someone's wife right now. Probably atakuja aone hii kitu. So we were dating somewhere in Form 3 and Form 2 there, and then we broke up. Whoa, 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 whoa. We broke up. We broke up because there was this guy. There was this guy. You know, I was in a boarding school and she was in a day school. So she was getting these advantages that I could not provide. There were, she used to walk to school every day, so she needed transport and all that. So there are people who could offer that, and I was just a young man who's trying to find out who I am, to figure out who I am. Yeah. So that relationship, after your parents, the second relationship that sets the standard of how you'll be choosing partners is your first love. And your first love is so intense, you can't compare any other emotions that you feel right now compared to your first love. The emotions during your first love are stronger than the emotions you feel right now. Because now, during that time, you did not have a lot of logic. You could not use a lot of logic to distinguish if this person is right for you. You were just following your emotions. In a lot of infatuations, you wanted to feel good. You were approaching girls who made you feel good. So that influences you so much, so that when you are making decisions later on in the future, you want to feel the same way you felt when you were young. You are yearning for that. Every time you are looking for a partner, you are like, I don't think there's a connection, because you are comparing what you felt when you were young versus what you are feeling right now. And I usually say this, and I've learned this in my life. Love is not a feeling. Love is a decision. You decide to love someone, and then when you make that decision, our emotions usually follow our decision. That's why when you break up with someone, there's usually that emotion. Your emotion is like what we call in physics, we call a force of inertia. Like you are in a car and then the car is moving, and then when the car stops, you want to move. So when you break up with someone, your emotion wants to continue with that person. But if you direct your mind, you make a decision and say, it is over, I have to move on. After some time, your emotions will not want to follow that person anymore. It will follow your decision, because love is a decision. You decide to love someone. You decide to do things. If I don't want to do anything for you, it doesn't matter how much I feel. Yes. So love is like a decision. So the first love influences how we make choices for our partners and the relationship that we try to make today. Yes.
Okay. I think I've never looked at it in that way, but now that you've mentioned it, I think our first love really shapes.
First love. The moment you mention first love, I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's our first love.
It's up. But ideally.
Ideally.
By the way, it's very true, because I'm here. I'm weighing myself. Where am I?
Yeah.
Because what you've mentioned about having a first love as a model of
yes.
what you would
Yes.
want in a relationship, it's something we've never looked at it. We've never thought of it. But now that you've mentioned, I think it's really something. Because you see, the first love that I had, for example, was communicating, had very good communication skills.
Yes.
And right now, I cannot date someone who doesn't have good communication skills.
Oh, you see?
Yeah.
You've established a standard and you don't know where it is coming from. Okay, most of the time you think, oh, these are my standards.
Yes.
But you learn them from somewhere.
Yes.
And everybody is trying to get someone who is better than their ex. That's what we are doing right now. Everybody is trying to, because you're doing a comparison. So you get someone who is better than your ex, and then you realize that your ex also has faults and challenges. So you want to drop them and get someone who is better than your ex, and it becomes a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Oh, that's really. I'm loving this topic. Let me tell you, when we are discussing when we are having this discussion, I'm asking myself, where am I?
Evaluate yourself. I've been doing this. I've been evaluating myself. I'm actually sharing things that I've tried to do on my own. That's why I told you I cannot speak about marriage. I can only speak about the things that I've tried them myself. I've learned these things, and it's not good. It's not good when you look deep down to yourself and you're like, oh man, this is what I've been doing all along.
Okay.
These are my mistakes, and yes,
You've been breaking people's hearts.
yes, because of what we call these influences and factors.
All right, I heard the next thing. Okay, before we go to the next point, I would want to ask you something about, so is it a good thing to have a model from the first love? Or how do you shift now from this thing, having a model and having someone you would want? Because people are not the same. People are not the same.
The solution here, knowledge is power.
Yeah, yeah.
And even the Bible records that my people perish because they lack knowledge.
Yeah, true.
Knowing, most of us are, in our brain we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
Yes.
So most of the automated actions that we do, like walking, talking, like right now the way I'm moving my fingers is automated. It's in the subconscious mind. So the things you learned in the past, the programming you learned around your parents and the modeling you learned from them, still there. It is controlling you. So the greatest step is knowing. That's why I'm here now, to share what I've learned. It's knowing. The moment you know now, when you are making decisions, you will know, hey, I'm making decisions probably because my parents used to do this. And you want to compare, you want to find a partner who is like your father or your mother. Now, the moment you know that, when you are making decision, you factor that in your decision. You put that at the back of your mind, and you know that when I'm making this decision, am I just making this decision because I learned this from my parents, or I learned this from my past relationship, or is it because it's a movie I watched, or is it because of my first love, or is it because of the context or the halo effect? Why am I doing this? It's important to know that. It doesn't mean that the modeling you got from your parents is bad. I mentioned that we are not perfect. And in a relationship, there are two imperfect people meeting, coming together. So these imperfect people are working out. They are coming up with a compromise for their relationship. Yes, it's a combination of just knowing and then knowing and adjusting accordingly.
Yeah, amazing. I loved what you've talked about compromise, because we are two people coming from totally
different backgrounds
and different places. We don't know each other. We've never seen each other. We are coming together as different people, and I think this is where non-negotiables and negotiables come in. So if you're looking for a partner, what do you want? What are you, what are you willing to compromise?
Yeah, what are you willing
what
to
are you not willing to compromise?
Mostly for me, like personally, I feel like I can compromise on what we call interest, but when it comes to character, character is a deal breaker, because character, especially when you are dating, the character, if someone shows you that they can lie even a little bit during the relationship, first of all, that person doesn't respect you. And the fact that they can lie at the beginning of the relationship, where people can fake a lot, that means that person is so confident in lying that they can, now when they are comfortable with you, they will lie. Have you ever heard this? There are people who lie to an extent that they don't know the difference between the truth and the lie. They're like, oh, did I say that? And then yes.
All right. So on to our last.
The last point. It's related to the first love thingy. So, first love, there are people who engage during first lovers, and there are people who are in their first relationship and they engage in sex. So when you engage in sex, something else develops. There's an hormone. There's a chemical called oxytocin. It's a feel-good hormone. We have another one called what we call this dopamine. Dopamine causes addiction. Oxytocin is the one that is released during love, and it's also released during coitus, during sex. It's released during sex. So oxytocin generally in men, it's lower in men compared to women.
Yeah.
But the shock is, according to research of psychology, that if you engage in sex, yeah, the oxytocin is at a lower level in men, but when you engage in sex, 500% of oxytocin is released.
Oh.
500% of oxytocin is released. So the effect of oxytocin is that when you've had sex with someone, there's a chance that when you have sex with them again, you think kuna kwangana there's this maybe our relationship is going through turmoils and we have issues, we have major conflict, and we know that we are not supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And then we meet up and we do this patch up sex, and then after that, because oxytocin has been released, now you think that this is the best partner for me. There's that feeling after that process that you feel like this one is the best for me because of oxytocin. Oxytocin magnifies, and it magnifies the good side and it hides the bad side. You not even think that you had a major quarrel. You not even think that you have character issues. You not even think that you're not compatible. So when people see, what do we call them? People like sleeping around with women, and when they sleep with a certain woman, after some time they might think that that woman or that lady who sleeps around might think that that man is the one for them because they have slept together and then oxytocin has been released, the feel-good hormone, and then you think, this one is my partner. So oxytocin is an effect, and it goes hand in hand with the first love point.
So if you sleep with different people, then the oxytocin is released. So does it negate the fact that there was someone else, and now you think that this one is the right one?
Yes. See, I'm telling you, oxytocin is
It's a feel-good hormone.
it's a
It
feel-good
brings
hormone. Yeah,
happiness.
it brings happiness with whoever you are sharing that time with, and then because you are in that moment, you might think that this is the right partner for me, and you might even make your decision right there. And
Done.
yes,
Okay,
and oxytocin goes hand in hand with an extra point. There's an extra point I can add. Now we can call this point number 7, and this is what we call the sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is basically investment. So the reason I came up with this point is it's related to the oxytocin and all that. It's actually investing too much. So the sunk cost fallacy says that when you invest in something too much, even if it's a bad investment, it becomes so hard for you to leave that investment. So sex is one of the investment. Money, time, it's an investment. When you invest in something so much, it becomes so hard to leave that investment, even if that investment is failing. It's like a ship. You see, the sunk cost fallacy. It's like a ship. The more the ship collects more water, the more it sinks. Yes, so you are there, you are with this toxic person, but because you've invested so much in the relationship, you're like, no,
Let me just
let me continue, bana. Hey, when you think about it, your emotions are attached to this person you've invested so much. Yeah.
And it's something I've seen so much. I've seen and I've heard people say, yeah. I've stayed with this person for 5 years or 2 years. Alafu nimwache. How am I even going to start another relationship? Yeah. I think, does it also look like gambling?
Yes, it's it looks like gambling.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing about gambling. But then I missed to explain something about avoidant people. Avoidant people and gambling, they go hand in hand. There's this research by a psychologist called B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner explains something we called hot and cold pattern. So when you meet an avoidant person and someone who gambles, they have the same logic, they think the same way, because hot and cold pattern applies in gambling, and also it applies with an avoidant person. An avoidant person can be hot today, cold tomorrow, hot today, cold tomorrow, hot today, cold tomorrow. Gambling is the same way. One minute you are winning, Your stakes are very high. You are like, especially when you do like, there's these ones they call aviator and all that. 1 minute the pilot, yeah, the plane is rising, and the next minute you need to cash out because you lose your money. So hot and cold pattern. The same thing with betting. 1 minute the team you're supporting, the team you staked your money with is leading. The next minute it's losing, and then the next minute it's winning again. That feeling is very addictive. So when you meet an avoidant person, it's very, very, very addictive. You might think that because they are giving you the hot and cold pattern, it's very addictive. It's same as gambling.
All right, okay. So now you've talked about these factors.
Yes.
So how do you make the right choices when it comes to relationship?
Okay, before go that to that, I wanted to list a few wrong people that we choose, just a few, 5 of them, and then we go to the solution.
Right.
So I'll just mention them and define them. So the first one is a rebel. So because of maybe you had strict parents, and they were not giving you this freedom. Now you are outside of your parents' leash, so to say. You are outside of your parents' prison, quote unquote. So you meet this person who is a freelancer. Let me freelancer, quote unquote. He's so free. He breaks so many rules.
Rules are meant to be broken.
So you want to hang out with them. So you might make a wrong choice and pick a rebel. Yes. The second one is the chase. The person who gives you the chase, the avoidant one now. The person who gives you hot and cold pattern. Now, if you are a needy, an insecure person, anxious person, you remember the attachments. If you are an anxious person, you are likely to meet this avoidant guy, and you think that if only I could improve this area of my life, this person will like me more. And then they are showing you this hot and cold. So you love the chase. There are people who are so good in doing the chase at the beginning of the relationship, but the moment you show them commitment, they don't want. So the third point, the third one that we fall for, the wrong ones. And they're called F boys and F girls. You know what F stands for. So we talked about oxytocin. So they are the wrong ones because it's influenced by oxytocin. And then the last one is the opulent one. And it goes hand in hand with halo effect and the context effect. Yes. So what I can say is you need to be self-aware. We can call it solitude. We can call it solitude. And I actually came across a verse in the Bible that almost relates to solitude. It's Proverbs 24 verse 27. Proverbs chapter 24 verse 27 talks about you preparing your outside work and preparing your fields. Then after that, build your house. So basically, it's giving you like a process of before you enter into a relationship. Building a house, to me, I interpret that as having a life partner or having a wife. So it talks about it talks about preparation, and preparation can only be done on your own first. You need to prepare on your own. You need to learn. You need to have a background of what psychology is. We have different psychologies. Like women and men have different psychologies. Like women are too emotional compared to men. Men are too logical. That's why when men and women have an argument, one is coming from a logical point, and then the other one is coming from an emotional point. So a man wants to solve the problem, and he wants to show you where the problem is. But the woman just wants to be heard, and he just wants you to listen. You see, we come from different school of thoughts. So as an individual, if you take time and be on your own, learn. I've been on my own for some time now. Personally, I've been on my own now since 2019. I've been learning to be on my own, learning what my purpose is. You need to find out what your purpose is. You need to know your imperfections, your weaknesses. You need also to know these things. You need to evaluate how your parenting influenced your decisions now, how your previous relationships influenced your decisions right now. So you need time on your own. I believe that solitude is the beginning of a relationship. People confuse solitude and loneliness. They are different. Solitude means that you are on your own, but you're using your time alone to work on your skills. Research shows that skills cannot be learned in a group setting. Even if you go to school, even if you go to law school, engineering, psychology, the lawyer that you become, the advocate that you become, will depend with how you do your personal studies, how you do your personal skills. For you to become a journalist, most of the things that you know, you didn't learn from school. You learned them on your own.
Very true.
Even our camera guy, he learned on his own.
Yes.
You can learn very little in a group setup, but you learn so much when you're alone.
Yes.
Even right now, someone who is watching this, you can go and learn on your own. Maybe you're watching this with someone. Go and do it on your own now. You learn a lot on your own. So learning takes place in solitude. And I can give you some of the importance part of solitude. I'll only give you 3 points as we wind up. So one of the importance, okay, let me give you 4. One of the importance of solitude, first of all, you find your purpose. You learn who you are. You start knowing this is what I do, and God created me for a reason. I don't know what you believe in, but for me, I believe in God and Jesus Christ. So I believe that God created me for a reason. Even if I feel like I don't have a purpose, a purpose can be as simple as just waking up one morning and telling your neighbor that you look good this morning, and then you make them smile. That is a purpose. So it will help you know your purpose, and then it will help you make better decisions. Because now, in solitude, you learn to separate your emotions from your logic. You learn to make decisions with your logic and not your emotions. When you feel something good about someone, you'll take time and analyze before you make a decision. It teaches you self-control and patience. Because now, you see, self-control is that time between you are attracted to someone and your reaction to them. So that time, when you take your time, you are patient enough, you take your time. And then finally, you become a whole self. Like you become complete. You know, we have statements in the world we are living in. We have statements. We say, "You're my better half," and I know we usually say it jokingly sometimes, but
It's sort of
but
cliche.
it's some cliche, yes, right? But there are people who believe in that. They believe that they are empty and they are half, and they are looking for someone to complete them. I used to believe in that too until I read a verse in the Bible. It's actually in the Bible. It's Colossians 2:10. It says, "We are complete in Him." In Him who? In Jesus Christ. So if you are in Christ, you are complete. You are already complete. So when you are, there are two complete people coming together. So you're supposed to work on yourself when you're alone, become complete. So you'll develop this wholeness. You'll love yourself. And then you don't want to bring someone into your life. You don't want to make someone your journey. You want to go, to walk together, to go on a journey together. And that starts with you, first of all, going on the journey. Like for example, if you want to take someone on a date, like for me as a man, I usually go there first, meet the waiter, and then I talk to the waiter, mwambia akikuja, hizi vitu hakuna huku.
You do that?
Nah.
You don't do that.
Yeah, you tell the waiter guy, when I come with my girl, these things don't exist. So yeah. Aulizie tu vitu ziko kwa hii range tu. They rotate around this range. So you know, these things that we are talking about, I had to do my solitude after I came across a book, and credits to Jay Shetty. I've learned a lot from listening to his podcast and listening to the guests he brings on his podcast. And his book, there's a book written by him. It's called 8 Rules of Love. I learned that, and I took it home. I said to myself, let me try this. Let me try to live on my own. Let me learn. learn the imperfections about myself. Let me learn about myself, what I can do in life. Learn about my character, my weaknesses, my purpose, and I've learned. I'm not there yet. I'm still learning. I'm still in the process, but I'm not where I was when a number of years ago.
Yeah, so it's very important for people to come into a new relationship completely healed and completely self-aware. So thank you very much, people, for watching our episode. This is episode 8 of season 1, and we hope to see you here every time. It's so amazing to always see you. Comment, share, and also subscribe. Tell people to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the subscription bell so that when we upload any episode, you get to know. Thank you.